If you're enjoying the Health Geeks Book Club podcast, we'd appreciate if you hit the subscribe button, leave a like, rating, or review, whichever your preferred podcatcher platform allows.
This episode is sponsored by Well Balanced Nutrition and 360 Health.
Welcome to the Health Geeks Book Club podcast. Listen in as Kristen Norton and Eleanor Russell review all those great health and wellness books you've been wanting to read or you have read and want to talk about. Here's Kristen and Eleanor.
Hello, podcast world. The Health Geeks are gathered around the table again this morning, and the feast of good ideas are coming. And we just want to kind of talk about ideas today. And part of that is because we're in a new studio, and it may sound a little different. You'll have to let us know. Tim has taken the big step and gone in the high rise. And so we are looking out over Winston-Salem this morning, and it is a beautiful day. What do you think, Tim?
I think it is a fantastic view, and even if it does sound different today, it will sound different maybe not the next podcast or even the podcast after that, but the next recording session.
And we are the first.
Yeah, you are absolutely the first to do any recordings in here, because I didn't even do a test run whenever I set everything up last night at 9:00 in the evening.
We appreciate that.
But you guys are important to me, and I made sure that I canceled every other podcast I have this week.
And this is coming from a guy who wouldn't have been characterized as a health geek prior to our little sessions together.
Right.
But I have to think, Kristen, don't you think he's coming along, and eventually we're going to have to put the little health geek label on him too at some point?
I agree. He may not read the books, but he is definitely soaking in the information.
Right. And I'll send you guys messages. Hey, I read something about this, or I'm doing this, or whatever. But
so if we can get you to do it, maybe we can have an influence on the health of the world like we're trying to do.
Yes. Well, and that's the beauty of this podcast. Again, I don't like to read, but I like to know the things that go on. And you guys like to read, and you do read, and you get us information so we don't have to. Yay, us.
Yeah. And everybody wants to lead a healthy, happy life.
We think.
And so,
we'd like to encourage them to want to do that, right?
Right. I think everybody does want that. It's harder to make it happen sometimes.
And no one gets up, I don't think, and says, you know what, I'm going to be a slob today, and I'm going to eat crappy food, and I'm going to just sit in my own filth.
I don't know.
You're disagreeing?
I do. I think in my life journey, I have been around bodies of people who say, live for right now, and I don't care.
Well, no, I mean, that's different.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm talking about, we all want to be here, or we would find a way to end that.
Oh.
But I just don't think that we get up and go, screw it all. We're just going to do nothing healthy, and I'm going to make sure on purpose that I'm just going to sit here and do nothing.
Well, I think we have some books that are going to address that very topic, and we'll probably delve into them at some point. But as I'm looking at this window, I'm noticing a little haze, maybe a little allergy season out there, a little pollen in the springtime, and the immune system. We read a book about how our body protects us, and I think we have some lessons as we walk out the door this morning. Here in the Piedmont, we've got azaleas and irises and all sorts of blooms, and the trees, the oak trees, the maple trees, they're all putting their pollen out there, aren't they?
Yeah, it's so pretty, but hard on a lot of people right now.
Yeah, but we did learn about all the little intricacies of our immune system and how it really is at work, and it has no central agency. It's just a whole bunch of little teeny things that work together collaborative, and keeps us relatively healthy based on what we have to confront every day.
Mm-hmm. That really was a fun book and a neat one in the way that it describes it to help the learner really make sense of the complexity of the immune system.
Right.
Well, so we talk about all kinds of wellness topics. Eleanor, what's been going on in your world in terms of the wellness wheel? What kind of things have been happening for you? Vacation? Or...
Nope. No, I know. You could talk about Jamaica.
Yes, I did vacation.
Yeah, you took a vacation? How'd that feel?
It was wonderful.
Did you get restored?
I did. I got to walk barefoot on the sand and in the water. And
did you engage
air.
your senses like they told us to do in the forest bathing book? Did you take a moment and find yourself even thinking to do that? Or did
I did. Yeah. I mean, I didn't spend too many moments doing that, but it was, the pace was slowed down for sure, and more of the pace of nature rather than hurry, go, go, go. And that was lovely. That was lovely.
And the sunshine.
Lots of sunshine. There was rain too, but a lot of sunshine, a lot of pool time, beach time, family time.
Well, listeners out there, take advice from her and take a vacation. Plan a time off. It's good for us.
Yeah, plan for relaxation, plan for fun.
Exactly. Yeah, we're supposed to laugh, right? Mm-hmm. And enjoy living. It's the only one we get.
We did a lot of dancing.
Did you?
Yeah. Yep. It was, they had Sesame Street characters and a lot of music all the time. So it was just that fun vibe.
And your kids were with you.
Yep.
I think children teach us a lot about healthy living if we kind of pay attention to them. Mm-hmm. We get to be adulting a little too much and forget some of the simpler, wonderful things that we come equipped with. And speaking of being equipped with, we read a book about gut health and the microbiome, and we're probably going to read some more about that. Have you done something with your business? Is it Well Balanced?
Well Balanced Nutrition.
Yes.
We do monthly workshops online that are free to the public. And in April, we did gut health. And I got to tie in some of the immune system book into that because so much of our immune system is located in our gut, and talk about some ways with diet and lifestyle that we can help our gut be on the healthy side. And in May, it's mindful eating. So when you were talking about kids teaching you about health, that immediately made me think of how they are naturally mindful eaters. Mm-hmm. And as adults, we kind of start to unlearn that.
Or we think too much, maybe.
Maybe we think too much, but the adults can tell the kids, you're not done, or you need to eat more of this. And then that tells the kids that they know more than me about whether I'm full or not. Right. So I'm excited about May because we go back into mindful eating and getting back in touch with that intuition inside of us that knows when and how much and what we need more than the outside world does.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some of the reading we have in front of us because we've picked out some books about mindset and also psychology, sort of that idea of how important is our mind in our health. And this mindfulness, it'll be fun for us to go forward in the next month thinking about all that. I know that you asked me what I'd been doing. I think the first quarter of my year was anxiety producing because it's tax season, and I start thinking about it in January, like, oh, do I have everything? What do I got to get? And I don't like doing it. So then I procrastinate, and then I make the case worser. Speak English.
Where are you from? West Virginia?
It could be. Now, that's not fair.
I'm from West Virginia.
Okay.
I can say that.
Okay. So the reading that we have selected, I have found a lot of good little hooks in for me. So as we go into the next few weeks of podcasting, it'll be I'll be in there with some examples.
Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of mindset that we're talking about. And when we think about the wellness wheel, a lot of it is not just nutrition and exercise, which you might think about when you think of Health Geeks.
Yeah.
But we're interested in mindset and how that mindset affects things like your money and how you spend your money, your personality, and how that can influence how you interact with other people. So that goes into your social wellness. And then habit loops. We're going to talk about habits again and how that can be anxiety provoking.
Yeah. Was that James Clear, Atomic Habits 1, 2, 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
So another book that pulls in things like anxiety, the habit loops, and then even a little bit of willpower, myth busting.
Yeah, that willpower thing is another idea that I kind of want to go back and read that book again after considering, there might be something in there to reflect on. Oh, and one of our authors is coming to town, the Lazy Genius lady.
Yeah, she's got another book out about
Lazy Kitchen.
Uh-huh. She's coming to Bookmarks.
Right. So we're going to go meet her. Maybe she'll sign our book.
Yes. That's exciting. And we're going to have more guests in the future podcasts as well. So if you're listening and you know somebody who might want to come join us or an author, let us know. Reach out and connect, and we'll get them on the show maybe.
Yeah, and as we're talking about that wellness wheel, one of the things that comes to mind for me is the environment we put ourselves in. Environmental health is part of our whole total health scope. And this was Earth Day month. So everybody has been kind of reminded of the movement to sustainability. And so I represent a company that has built its mission on living in harmony with nature and makes products that are natural-based wellness products. And I love sharing those with people because I do believe the message of, if we protect nature, nature will protect us. And so every April I enjoy it because we get that opportunity to think about things. So I like to compost. And I'm looking for a book on composting to see if I can talk Kristen into reading it with me, or sustainable living ideas. And the Danish, is it the Danish that have the huggy? Mm-hmm. And we've thought about reading one of those. Hygge.
Yeah.
Yeah, or is it Swedish?
It's Swedish.
It is Swedish, yeah. Scandinavian.
Yeah.
I've thought about a sustainability book too. There's a couple out there, so we'll have to do some digging.
Yeah, and if any of you out there have one you want to recommend, shoot it our way. And, when you listen to the podcast, if your server lets you do a rating or a recommendation or a share, please spread the word that we're trying to help people engage this conversation, either with us or with each other or with their local bookstores.
Yes.
So speaking of that, have you heard anything from any of the listeners?
Oh, yeah. I heard some positive comments about Mel Robbins' Habit, a book, the High Five Habit. And by the way, I did it this morning. Did you?
Oh, I didn't.
Oh,
darn.
Have to go in there and make sure you do that. How about you, Tim? Have you been high-fiving yourself?
Every day.
I've got this, right?
Yeah. Gosh darn it, people like me.
Yes. They do. Yeah, so I'm hearing that people are they're listening in the car is what I'm hearing, which is what I'm hoping people will understand. This is something that if you're in your car and you can't, you don't know what to listen to, but you don't want to be by yourself in there, bring us in. We'll talk to you. Get a cup of coffee, sit down, listen to one of these. I mean, I think coffee's really good for you, so I will endorse that.
And then when you're not driving, engage with us on Facebook or Instagram, because that's another fun way to hear from our listeners. And we have started hearing a little bit more from them in that realm. So we want to hear from you too.
All right. Well, I'm Eleanor Russell at 360health4u.com. Let me know what I can do to help make healthy happen in your world.
And I am Kristen Norton, one of the registered dietitians at Well Balanced Nutrition, where we help people with their nutrition habits and lead a healthy lifestyle. And I've really enjoyed talking about the wellness wheel, and I look forward to these books that we are going to talk about ahead of time. Ahead.
Yeah. In the future.
Cut that out.
I'll leave it in. Have a great podcast day, everybody.
And opinions stated in this podcast are solely those of the contributors and are not necessarily those of our distributors or hosting company. This podcast is copyrighted, and no part can be reproduced without the expressed written consent of Kristen and Eleanor.